Listen carefully, he told his team at Luna Base. These aliens chose Earth because they think we're weak. They've studied our public technology and military capabilities, but they don't know about our classified projects. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had been brought to Luna Base as an advisor. What are you thinking, Captain? They expect us to fight like every other species they've conquered, Marcus replied. Conventional space battles, energy weapons, standard military tactics. But humans don't fight fair when survival is at stake. Elena raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Marcus activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. We're going to use our home field advantage. They know about our satellites and space stations, but they don't know about our deep space mining operations, our asteroid tracking network, or our experimental propulsion systems. You want to fight them with mining equipment. I want to fight them with human ingenuity. We've been preparing for asteroid impacts for decades. We have nuclear charges positioned throughout the solar system, ready to deflect incoming rocks. What if those rocks weren't natural disasters, but weapons? The preparation. Across Earth, humanity responded with unprecedented unity. Every space agency, military force, and research institution began sharing classified information. Tech billionaires opened their private aerospace facilities. Nuclear submarines surfaced to launch hidden satellite networks. Amateur radio operators coordinated with deep space observatories. The aliens watched with amusement as primitive human spacecraft launched from Earth. Small vessels with chemical rockets headed toward their fleet in what appeared to be a suicidal attack. They're sending their entire space force, reported Zextar's tactical officer. 12 vessels, all armed with primitive nuclear weapons. Let them come, the admiral replied. Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. This will be over quickly. But Captain Chen's plan was far more complex. The visible human spacecraft were indeed heading toward the alien fleet, but they weren't the real attack. Deep in the asteroid belt, automated mining charges were awakening. Each one had been modified with guidance systems and enhanced propulsion. Elena coordinated the asteroid bombardment from Luna Base. Tracking confirms 17 large asteroids redirected. They'll reach the alien fleet in 6 hours. Will they expect it? Asked Marcus. They're focused on our approaching ships. Their sensors are designed to detect technological threats, not natural objects. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late to intercept them all. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, every observatory and radio telescope was coordinating in ways the aliens couldn't detect. Quantum communication networks, still experimental, allowed instant coordination between facilities on opposite sides of the planet. The first strike. Admiral Zextar stood confidently as the primitive human vessels approached. Prepare to demonstrate our power. Destroy the lead vessel. The alien energy beam lanced out, striking the human ship and vaporizing it instantly. The other human vessels scattered, launching their nuclear missiles in apparent desperation. Their weapons are as primitive as expected, reported the tactical officer. Nuclear fission devices. Our shields will absorb the energy easily. The missiles detonated against the alien shields in spectacular explosions that lit up space, but caused no damage to the hegemony vessels. Send a message to Earth, Zextar commanded. Tell them their attack has failed. They have 12 hours to surrender before we begin bombing their cities. But as the admiral spoke, alarms began sounding throughout his ship. Sir, we're detecting multiple large objects approaching at high velocity. More human ships. No, sir, these appear to be asteroids, but they're moving in impossible trajectories. Zextar's confidence wavered. How many? 17 confirmed, sir, each one massing over 1 million tons. Impact in 30 minutes. The admiral stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The asteroids were spread across a wide area, approaching from multiple angles. His ships could destroy some of them, but not all. How did they redirect natural objects without us detecting the energy signatures? His science officer was frantically analyzing the data. Sir, they appear to be using chemical explosions and gravitational slingshots. Primitive methods, but effective when coordinated on this scale. The silent approach. The discovery. Deep in the Andromeda sector, 3 species had formed what they called the Hegemony Alliance. The Zephyrians with their advanced energy weapons, the Krathen with their massive war fleets, and the Silixians with their superior technology. Together, they had conquered 47 star systems without a single defeat. Their method was simple: identify weak civilizations, demand surrender, and absorb their resources. It had worked perfectly for 2 centuries. Admiral Zextar of the Zephyrian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion. His 6 eyes studied the holographic display showing a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. This world called Earth had caught their attention not for its beauty, but for its strategic location and abundant resources. "The preliminary scans are complete," Admiral reported his tactical officer. "The inhabitants call themselves humans. They appear to be a primitive species still confined to their home planet and its immediate vicinity." Zextar nodded his elongated head. "What is their technological level?" "Barely spacefaring, sir. They have some satellites and a few space stations. Their military appears to rely on chemical propulsion and primitive nuclear weapons. No energy shields, no faster-than-light capability. They should surrender within hours of our arrival." The Admiral smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "Another easy conquest. Signal the fleet. We advance to Earth immediately." The warning. Dr. Elena Rodriguez rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of coffee. She had been working the night shift at the Deep Space Observatory for 3 months, monitoring radio signals and tracking celestial objects. Most nights were quiet, but tonight felt different. The computer began beeping rapidly. Elena leaned forward, studying the readings. 3 massive objects were approaching the solar system at incredible speed. They were too large to be asteroids and moving in perfect formation. "This can't be right," she whispered, running the calculations again. The objects were clearly artificial, each the size of a small city. They would reach Earth's orbit in 72 hours. Elena immediately contacted Earth Defense Command. The duty officer listened to her report with obvious skepticism. "Dr. Rodriguez, are you certain these aren't meteorites or space debris?" "I'm absolutely certain. These are constructed vessels moving under intelligent control. We need to alert the President immediately." There was a long pause. "I'll file your report, Doctor. Someone will review it in the morning." Elena slammed down the phone. She had just detected the first confirmed alien contact in human history, and they were treating it like a routine weather report. "The fleet arrives." Captain Marcus Chen stood in the command center of Earth's newest military installation, Luna Base Alpha. At 35, he was young for his rank, but his innovative thinking had earned him command of Earth's most experimental defense program. "Captain," called his communications officer, "we're receiving massive energy readings from the outer system. 3 enormous vessels just dropped out of faster-than-light travel." Marcus felt his blood turn cold. Elena Rodriguez's warning from the night before had been real. "Red alert. Contact Earth Command immediately. Patch me through to President Morrison." Within minutes, every screen on Earth was displaying the same image: 3 colossal alien warships hanging in space like dark omens. Each vessel bristled with weapons and energy emitters that hurt to look at directly. President Sarah Morrison stood in the Oval Office, surrounded by her advisors. The room was in chaos as phones rang and urgent reports flooded in from around the world. "Ma'am," said her chief of staff, "the alien vessels are broadcasting on all frequencies." The transmission was clear, translated by advanced alien systems into every human language simultaneously. Admiral Zextar's image appeared on screens worldwide. "Inhabitants of Earth, I am Admiral Zextar of the Hegemony Alliance. Your planet has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. Comply, and your deaths will be swift. Resist, and your world will burn." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in stunned silence. Humanity's response. While world leaders debated in emergency sessions, Captain Chen was already moving. His experimental program had been developing unconventional defense strategies for theoretical alien encounters. Now theory was becoming terrifying reality. For the first time in his military career, Admiral Zextar felt uncertainty. These humans had turned their entire solar system into a weapon using nothing more than mining equipment and basic physics. The impact. The asteroid bombardment began 37 minutes later. The alien fleet's energy weapons destroyed 8 of the incoming rocks, but 9 others struck home. The impacts against the alien shields created massive energy discharges that lit up space for millions of kilometers. 2 of the smaller Krathen vessels lost shield power completely. A third was crippled when a particularly large asteroid punched through its weakened defenses. Damage report. Zextar commanded as his ship shook from multiple impacts. Shield generators at 40% capacity. The Krathen cruiser Devastator is heavily damaged. The Silixian science vessel has lost main power. The Admiral stared at the tactical display in growing alarm. In less than an hour, the primitive humans had damaged his fleet using nothing but rocks and explosives. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." Captain Chen's face appeared on the alien view screen. "Admiral Zextar, this is Captain Marcus Chen of Earth Defense Command. I believe you underestimated us. Your attack was clever, human, but you've only delayed the inevitable. We still have enough firepower to destroy your world." Marcus smiled grimly. "Maybe you do, but you came here expecting an easy conquest. How easy does this feel?" The transmission ended, leaving Zextar staring at empty space. For the first time since forming the Hegemony Alliance, he wondered if they had chosen the wrong target. The human response. The adaptation. Admiral Zextar paced the bridge of his damaged flagship, his 6 eyes darting between damage reports and tactical displays. The human asteroid attack had been completely unexpected, demonstrating a level of strategic thinking that didn't match their primitive technology. "Status of the fleet," he demanded. "The Devastator is running on auxiliary power only. The Silixian vessel probe has restored basic systems but remains vulnerable. Our own shields are regenerating, but slowly," reported his tactical officer. Zextar's mandibles clicked in frustration. How did we miss their capability to weaponize their entire solar system? His science advisor, a tall Silixian named Vexlan, stepped forward. "Admiral, we may have fundamentally misunderstood this species. Our intelligence focused on their military technology, but we ignored their civilian infrastructure. They've turned mining operations, scientific instruments, and navigation systems into military assets. Irrelevant, we still possess superior firepower. Begin bombardment of their major population centers." But as the alien energy weapons charged, new alarms began sounding throughout the fleet. The swarm. Captain Chen watched from Luna Base as thousands of small objects appeared on sensors, launching from hidden positions throughout the solar system. Each one was barely larger than a shuttle, but together they formed a coordinating swarm. "Phase 2 is active," he reported to President Morrison over secure quantum link. "The microsatellite network is operational." Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the alien fleet's response from her station. "They're trying to target the individual satellites, but there are too many. Each satellite is networked with dozens of others, creating redundant command structures." What the aliens were witnessing was uniquely human. The transformation of Earth's entire telecommunications and GPS satellite network into a coordinated defense system. Every weather satellite, every communications relay, every piece of space debris with a functioning power source had been linked together. "Sir," reported Zextar's tactical officer, "the small human devices are interfering with our targeting systems. They're jamming our sensors with coordinated electronic warfare." "How many are there?" "Over 3,000 confirmed contacts, with more launching continuously. They're using some kind of distributed network we've never encountered." Vexlan studied the readings with growing concern. Admiral, this is remarkable. They've created a distributed intelligence network. Each individual component is primitive, but collectively they're achieving computational power that rivals our battle computers. The hunt. While the aliens struggled with electronic warfare, human engineering crews were preparing the next phase. Captain Chen had coordinated with every space agency and private aerospace company on Earth. What appeared to be evacuation ships launching from the planet were actually carrying specially modified payloads. The delivery vehicles are in position, reported Elena. Package deployment in 30 minutes. Admiral Zextar watched as dozens of human spacecraft approached his fleet. Unlike their previous attack, these vessels made no attempt to hide their approach. "They're coming straight at us," observed his tactical officer. "Same primitive chemical rockets as before. Destroy them before they can deploy their nuclear weapons." The alien energy beams lanced out, vaporizing the approaching human vessels one by one. But as each ship died, it released its cargo, thousands of small autonomous drones that immediately scattered in all directions. "What are those devices?" demanded Zextar. Vexlen was analyzing the readings frantically. "They appear to be maintenance robots, Admiral. The kind used for repairing space stations and satellites." "Maintenance robots? Are the humans attempting to repair our ships?" The answer came minutes later as the first drones reached the alien fleet. Instead of attacking, they began attaching themselves to the hull of the ships and immediately started cutting through the outer armor with industrial tools. "They're not trying to destroy us," Vexland reported in amazement. "They're trying to disable us." Each drone carries welding equipment, cutting tools, and electronics. They're systematically dismantling our external systems. The revelation. As hundreds of maintenance drones swarmed over the alien ships, a terrible realization dawned on Admiral Zextar. The humans weren't fighting a conventional space battle. They were treating the alien fleet like a massive engineering problem to be solved. "Sir, they've disabled our main sensor array. External communication is down. They're cutting into our engine manifolds." "Destroy the drones." "We can't target them effectively, sir. They're too small and too close to our hull. Our weapons aren't designed for point defense against maintenance equipment." Vexlen spoke quietly. "Admiral, I believe we've made a fundamental error. We assumed these humans would fight like every other species we've conquered. But they're not warriors in the traditional sense. They're problem solvers." On Luna Base, Captain Chen was coordinating the swarm attack with the precision of an air traffic controller. Drones 17 through 34 focus on their engine cooling systems. Drones 40 through 60 target their communication arrays. "Remember, we want to disable, not destroy." Elena looked up from her console. "Why are we holding back? We could plant explosives on their hulls." "Because destroying them accomplishes nothing," Marcus replied. "Dead enemies can't spread the word about what happens when you underestimate humanity. But defeated enemies, they tell stories." The cooperation. As the drone attack continued, something unprecedented happened in human history. Every nation, corporation, and organization on Earth began sharing resources and information without restriction. The quantum communication network that Elena had helped establish was carrying coordination data between every major facility on the planet. In underground bunkers, teams of software engineers were reverse engineering alien communication protocols using the electromagnetic signatures captured by Earth's radio telescopes. In orbital laboratories, materials scientists were analyzing samples of alien hull material collected by the maintenance drones. President Morrison addressed the world from the Emergency Command Center beneath Washington. "Citizens of Earth, for the first time in our history, humanity stands united. Every resource, every mind, every innovation is being shared freely among all nations. We are no longer separate countries facing a threat. We are one species defending our home." The cooperation extended beyond governments. Amateur radio operators were coordinating with NASA. Video game developers were helping military strategists understand three-dimensional combat. Crowdsourced computing networks were analyzing alien tactical patterns. The turning point. Admiral Zextar found himself in a situation no hegemony commander had ever faced. Tactical defeat by an apparently inferior enemy. His ships were systematically being disabled by what amounted to space janitors with power tools. "Sir, the engine room reports that external power couplings have been severed. We're running on internal power only." "What about the other ships?" "The Devastator has lost propulsion entirely. The probe is reporting similar problems across all systems." Vexelen approached the Admiral's command chair. "Sir, I must speak frankly. We've encountered something we've never seen before. This species doesn't just adapt to threats. They transform everything around them into a solution." As if to prove the point, the human drone swarm was now doing something even stranger. Instead of continuing their dismantling work, they were beginning to construct something on the hull of the alien ships. "What are they building?" Zextar asked. The answer came through the ship's communication system, which had mysteriously returned to function. Captain Chen's voice filled the bridge. "Admiral Zextar, this is Captain Chen. We've installed communication relays on your ships. We thought you might want to negotiate." The negotiation. The transmission from Earth was unlike anything the Hegemony Alliance had ever received. Instead of surrender or demands for mercy, the humans were offering something completely unexpected. "Admiral," Chen continued, "we've analyzed your ship's technology and tactical doctrines. You're clearly more advanced than us in many ways, but you've never encountered distributed warfare or adaptive engineering. We'd like to make a proposal." Zextar found his voice. "You're in no position to make demands, human. We're not making demands. We're offering an exchange. You have superior technology and vast experience in space warfare. We have problem-solving abilities and adaptation strategies that you've never encountered. Both of our species could benefit from cooperation rather than conquest." Dr. Elena Rodriguez had helped craft the proposal based on her analysis of alien communication patterns. "Your empire has conquered 47 star systems, but you've never faced real resistance. That makes you vulnerable to species that do fight back effectively. We can teach you adaptive strategies. In exchange, you can help us develop better technology." Vexelen looked at Admiral Zextar with obvious interest. "Admiral, this is an intriguing proposition. We've spent 2 centuries conquering static civilizations. But what happens when we encounter a species that's genuinely dangerous?" The aftermath. 3 days later, Admiral Zextar found himself in an unprecedented situation, sitting across a conference table from the leaders of the species he had come to conquer. The meeting was taking place aboard Luna Base Alpha, with representatives from both Earth and the Hegemony Alliance. "Your species has forced us to reconsider our entire strategic doctrine," he admitted to President Morrison. "We believe superior technology guaranteed victory. You've proven that adaptability can overcome technological advantages." Captain Chen leaned forward. "The question now is what happens next. You came here to conquer us, but we've proven that's not possible. Meanwhile, you've shown us that the galaxy is full of potentially hostile civilizations. Neither of us is better off with the other as an enemy." Dr. Elena Rodriguez presented her analysis. "Based on our observations of your technology, the Hegemony Alliance faces a fundamental problem. You've become so dependent on overwhelming force that you're vulnerable to asymmetric warfare. Every species you've conquered submitted quickly. But what happens when you encounter one that doesn't?" The truth was uncomfortable but undeniable. The Hegemony Alliance had become victims of their own success. They had never learned to adapt because they had never needed to. President Morrison made the final offer. "We propose a partnership. Earth becomes an independent ally of the Hegemony Alliance, not a conquered territory. We'll share our adaptive strategies and problem-solving techniques. In exchange, you share advanced technology and warn us of other potential threats." The new alliance. 6 months later, the first joint human hegemony research station was operational in Earth's orbit. Human engineers worked alongside Zephyrian energy specialists, while Silixian scientists collaborated with Earth's top physicists. Admiral Zextar, now bearing the title of ambassador, stood in the observation deck looking down at Earth. Vexland joined him, carrying a datapad full of reports. "The preliminary results are remarkable," the Silixian reported. "Human adaptive techniques have improved our fleet efficiency by 37%. Meanwhile, their technological development has accelerated by decades thanks to our knowledge sharing." Zextar nodded. "More importantly, we've learned something valuable. True strength doesn't come from conquest. It comes from the ability to turn any situation into an advantage." Below them, Earth continued its daily routine, but now with a difference. Humanity had faced its greatest test and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had proven that intelligence, cooperation, and adaptability could overcome any advantage. Captain Chen, now heading the new Joint Defense Initiative, often reflected on the lesson they had taught the galaxy. The greatest mistake any species could make was underestimating the power of human determination when survival was at stake. The galaxy had tried to enslave Earth. Instead, they had discovered that humans don't just survive threats. They transform them into opportunities, and in doing so, they had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever.